and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about ENHYPEN's Bite Me Japanese version, focusing on a little breakdown of the video to see how it is connected to the dark blood concept. Now, in this new Japanese version, the story told in Bite Me is portrayed a lot more metaphorically than before. Despite of that, the video is full of symbolic imagery that is directly connected to dark blood, so today we'll break it down, analyze it, and see what's going on in this red and white fantasy. Bear in mind, the dark blood portrayed the story of a boy who loved somebody so much that they gave up their mortality in order to gain the power to protect them. Overcome by his own pride and greed, this choice led him to become a cursed being swallowed up by oblivion. He gave up his humanity to protect the woman he loved, but in doing so he was cursed to forget her and wandered the earth unable to die. It's only when the two meet again in the future that the boy finally remembers that they're connected by blood, so in the song it tells her to bite him to finally fulfill the destiny he chose. Now in the video, the first thing that we see is ENHYPEN approaching a dreamlike landscape as they witness the disappearance of the girl they love. She turns into dust right before their eyes, and while I suspect that we have some trucks to blame for this artistic choice, her disappearance also fits the story itself. When their princess turns them into vampires, the knights are swallowed up by oblivion. They forget the princess they love, so at the beginning the video opens with her literally disappearing from their memory. Despite her absence, however, the longing for her still remains, so throughout the video the members are haunted by an entity they cannot even remember. Jungwon, for instance, is associated to water, and this imagery refers to the waters of oblivion that have swallowed them when they got cursed. We also saw a similar scene back in Sacrifice, and in that song this oblivion is compared to the river Lethe, which in turn is the river of forgetfulness of Greek mythology. In Bite Me, Jungwon's reflection essentially symbolizes what he lost into this oblivion, so later on the reflection shows us the blurry memory of the girl they forgot they loved. In yet another reference to Sacrifice, the next scene also shows us Sanghoon caressing a giant pair of hands that is holding him. Later in the video, these hands begin to bleed, and in Sacrifice, the same entity is seen with Sonu during his downfall. Now, to an extent, we can say that these are the hands of fate, which hold them in its grasp without them being able to escape. In Dark Blood, however, their fate is their karma, because they chose it. They chose to go through everything they're singing about, because they're that devoted to their princess. In the story, this character has divine attributes. She's a princess, their sire, their ruler, so the hands might also be a representation of her greatness in comparison to them. In another scene, for instance, we see Hee-sung trapped in a cage shaped like the face of a giant statue. As he walks among the ruins of the past, he sings the line "It's you and me in this world," which very much implies that Hee-sung is not only trapped by the memory of her, but is trapped inside of her because they're one and the same and connected by blood. After all, they want to be eaten by her. They want to become one with this person because that's the only way they can fulfill their destiny and be saved. And speaking of destiny, in the video this theme is very much embodied by Sonu and Nikki because in their scenes they are associated to the red thread of fate. This is the belief that people who are destined to meet are connected by an invisible red string that allows them to find each other no matter what. References to the red thread can also be found on the cover of You as well as in the concept photos, but in this context it might actually have different layers of meaning. For one, the presence of the thread of fate refers to the connection they share with the person they love. Since they're destined to be with each other, the red string connects them even if right now they don't even remember her, which is actually a major aspect of the story since the beginning. Another important detail, however, is that both Nikki and Sonu are in control here. Nikki is sewing with the thread, Sonu is playing cat's cradle, meaning that in both cases they're the ones literally moving the strings of their own fate. Once again, this refers to the idea that their fate is their karma because they chose it. This is not a destiny that was imposed on them, it was a path that they decided to take, so in both cases we see them actively creating their own destiny. In Sonu's scene, the location is also very cool, I think, because the red seeds almost look like the pattern of threads intertwined with one another. It's almost like Sonu is inside of the fabric being sewn by Nikki, meaning that they're both creators of their fate and living the fate that they created for themselves. In Nikki's scene, however, we also see that at one point he gets injured by the sewing machine, and this blood around his finger is the true string of fate that the song is actually referring to. In the story, what connects them through time and space is blood. It's blood that made them one, so in Bite Me, the red thread is the blood that connects them with their lover. With Nikki and Sanghoon, however, we also see that this connection not only applies to them with the lady, but also to them with each other, meaning that they're all linked by the destiny they chose. Problem is that they don't remember it, which also brings us to Jake and Jay. Now, when it comes to Jake, his scenes seem to portray different stages of their curse. When he sings about being tortured by dreams of him longing for something, his image is fragmented like he's looking for answers in every direction. When he finally removes the blindfold instead, he's whole again because he finally remembers his destiny. Later on, however, we see him suffocating because now he needs to be saved by his lover for him to breathe again. When it comes to Jay instead, we have him surrounded by hands and then surrounded by eyes. Now the scene of the hands might actually refer to the line about them being sidekicks who worship their loved one, which is the real protagonist of their story. As he reaches out to the lost memory of the lady, the framing makes us look down on him, like he's one of the many worshippers of this divine creature that is above everybody else. In his other scene, on the other hand, we see him surrounded by many eye paintings. Some of them are intact, some of them are destroyed, which can possibly symbolize him trying to remember the eyes of his loved one among the many he's seen. Either way, by the end the memory of the girl seems to resurface, but that doesn't mean that they're free, rather quite the opposite. Now they remember who they are bound to, that is their lover, and what binds them, that is their blood, so they're willingly staying into their prison. At the end we see Hee-sung stuck among the branches of an upside down tree, and the shape of his prison almost recalls the veins and arteries of a giant heart. There is no escape from this eternal love, but they don't want to escape, so by the end they just sit in front of the spilling blood that connects them all. Now, to see if this story will continue, for now we'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching guys, I'll see you next time, bye bye!